Everyone relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson. Hello and thank you for watching.
Where's my Stanley Cup? Is that what you asked just before we started recording?
Literally, I asked because you were complaining about the fact that we're in Sydney.
Yep.
It's been a bit of a tough day for us. I happen to be in Sydney for Gruen recording. You were going to come through on the way. We were going to meet, do a day of recording. There was planes flight delay. The whole day's been anyway. We're rushing in. We're trying to get as many episodes done as we possibly can because I've got a hard out.
Yep.
So not as hard as it used to be, but that's one of the things about being middle aged. And so I've got a hard out.
I've got a pill that can help you. A little blue pill.
That's right. Your hard out's not as hard as your hard outs previously were. Have your hard outs got a little softer around the edges?
I mean, we must be the only podcast that is not sponsored by an erectile dysfunction medication.
I think they've asked over the years, haven't they? And we've said no. I think we've refused. So. I think back in the day.
Really? No, I think I'm sure we had sex toys. I'm sure we had a
never had
pocket vagina.
Really?
What are they called again? Pocket pussy. What are they?
Yeah, I think
flesh lamp.
Pocket vagina
flesh
was
lamp.
fine. I was
flesh lamp, not flesh lamp.
Flesh light.
The flesh lamp is what you put in your house.
Yeah,
That's the permanent.
The flashlight looks like a flashlight. If you want
a real big vagina
for home that you can fuck in the living room. You know, when you've got guests over,
you know that,
and you don't want to get out your flashlight.
You know that meme.
This is what the podcast used to be like. Mike's rolling his eyes like they've started real hot here.
He's just hit the dump button. We're not live.
Yeah, flesh lamp. That's actually not a bad idea, the flesh lamp.
Well, that's because they say, you know that meme of like, if I win the lotto, I won't tell anyone, but there will be signs. Yeah. Like you come around to my house, I have a huge flesh lamp in my living room.
Have a go. Turn it on.
Yeah. You can walk inside
I've turned it on.
It's amazing.
Turns me on.
Okay, we're ready to kick off, guys, when you're ready.
And this might get us some good sponsors. This is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, hopefully Stanley Cup come on board. Because,
okay, so we're back in the studios.
Yeah.
You were complaining about the fact that you had a mason jar.
Because back in the Sydney studio. So I've been given. Mike's handed me a mason jar,
of course I've got the Mr. Sunday Movies jar.
Nice, very good. Joke. Yeah, it's a great little joke. And you said, "Where's your Stanley Cup?" Because yes, after much deliberation, I should say, Gemma purchased a Stanley Cup for me. Yes. She was traveling somewhere, and they're on like half price or something like that. Mm-hmm. So she sent me a photo, and it was none of the cool Batman black ones. It was all the more
the half price ones.
Yeah,
all the
half
ones that they couldn't get rid of.
Exactly.
That they had to sell for half price.
So the one Gemma got is actually very similar color scheme to the Everyone Relax artwork. It's kind of like a what do you call it when it's like the color changes? It's like starts deep purple, but then gets much like our artwork. It sort of gets
like a transition or something.
Yeah, like what would you call that? Blurred tone?
I don't know.
Graded?
Fade? A fade.
A fade.
That's what it's graded, but if fade works, that's good.
A grade?
We're the oldest men. Can't remember pocket pussy. Call it a fade instead of a grade.
I went down to Dochi for an ice cream.
So there was one that was more of a kind of, it's more of a neutral grey. So that's the one that I got. And I debuted it. Mm-hmm. People have been picking me up on saying I've been saying debut a lot, and people in the comments have been picking me up on that.
Oh.
So I debuted it.
Yeah, okay. And to those people I would say, fuck off.
Fuck off?
Fuck off.
Fuck off.
Fuck off.
But you've only seen it via Riverside when we do Two Guys, One Cup. And I was planning on bringing it down. I had a whole thing of like we could do a whole...
Could we change it to Two Guys, One Stanley Cup?
Mike...
2 guys, 2 Stanley Cups.
2 guys. Well, again, one at the moment. It turns out because I can see where this story is going.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
No. This is
where
like
is it?
Okay. So
it's not here, is what we're saying.
I thought we.
I've got mine.
Yeah, I thought we could have done an entire
I took it to Gruen.
episode.
I brought it up on the plane. I took it into Gruen.
Okay, so how do you do that on the plane?
What do you mean?
Because I took it away with me. We went camping last week, and I took it away, and I took the straw out. Mm-hmm. I put the cover over the hole. I rotated the whole thing.
Oh, yeah?
It leaked. It still leaked in my bag. And I was like, I don't want to fly to Sydney and risk that happening again.
Oh, my God. Do you know what I did?
What?
Which is, like, I guess maybe you didn't think of this. I emptied it first.
What's the point of traveling with an empty water cup?
I don't know, so it doesn't spill in your bag.
Yeah, but don't
like,
you want to
literally
drink
solves
on...
the problem. Well, if you're drinking it, and you've got something that you can drink with, then you're holding it. But if you want to put it in your bag to travel, empty it out and refill it. You're refilling it with water, right?
Yeah, it's a good point. I haven't really considered that. But I like to take
Are you
water.
Okay? You're in charge of a child.
No, I like to travel with water, like in my backpack. So, like,
Yes,
where,
but-
if I find myself somewhere where I can't refill it.
Where? You're on a plane.
Yeah, I know, but before I get to the plane, like I'll fill
Yeah,
it
so
as I'm walking through
before
the
you
airport.
get to the plane, you can have a drink of it, and then just before you're getting on the plane, you empty it out into a sink in the bathroom. You put it in your backpack.
That's so
then on
much
the
work.
plane.
That's or I could just take a water bottle that doesn't leak, which I did, which I've done.
What are you talking?
I bought a water bottle that doesn't leak, that I can drink anytime. Don't have to worry about when I
but
can
then
refill
you don't
it
have
or
your
not.
Stanley Cup here.
Well, that's okay, isn't it?
Well, you were the one who was complaining about the mason jar, so I'm going to say no.
Well, I could get my other bottle out, but it's too big. That's the problem. The problem with my other bottle, it holds just as much water as the Stanley Cup,
Yeah.
but it's so big it doesn't sit in any drink holder or anything. It's kind of annoying.
Because I've got two of these.
Oh my god!
So one night during the
If you got a bigger one than that,
yes.
because I think mine might be bigger than yours.
it is, yeah.
And
So
that's the other reason I didn't want to bring it, because I
the
didn't
one
want
that
to
Gemma has
give you
is,
Stanley Cup
is
envy.
bigger than this as well.
Yeah.
So I have one that size as well.
Okay.
And so during the comedy festival, so this, if people came to see my show, What You're Talking About, Will, they would have seen this one that's in front of you on stage, because this is the one that I use when I'm on stage. But one
Okay.
night when I was in there at the comedy festival, I was talking to some people at Comedy Republic in the bar. I put it down on the table and I went home, Charlie, and I left it there. Luckily, it had been handed back in, but I did not know that the next day. So the next day I just took in my bigger version, which is just like
Yeah.
a bigger version of the exact same thing. Because normally I take it home at night so I can have it during the day. Firstly, it had ice in it when I left it there the night before.
Okay.
And
This is when the endorsement comes in. This is what we're clipping. Yep.
It had ice in it when I left it there the night before,
Yeah.
because every night I would get it filled up with, some people even like to know what's in it. So I would get some ice, soda water, and then I would bring a whole lime from home. Now, I'm sure at Comedy Republic, they would have been happy to put lime in my thing. But what I've realized is I love an entire lime in my thing. So every night I would bring in.
Squeezed? Do you squeeze the juice out, or you just let it soak and diffuse?
I squeeze the juice. So I put a hole in the lime and then I crush it and I squeeze the juice in.
Yeah.
And it is just perfect for an onstage drink. So
Okay.
refreshing. Absolutely highly recommend it. Very funny to just be bringing in your own lime every night, though. Like you're trying to prevent scurvy or something, like into a bar where they have lime. But I know that lime is quite expensive. So, and also I know if I said, can you put some lime in?
And you're putting a whole lime in.
They're not going to put a whole lime in.
Yeah, exactly. That's
right?
right. They're giving you a little wedge.
That's right. So I figured if I want a whole lime, I should provide my own lime. So I go in the next day. It's been handed back in. Everybody knows it's mine. So that's the good news. So in it, the ice is still fully formed. That's how, even with the straw poking out, the ice was still completely icy. It was still cold. And then that night on the train,
Interesting.
when I was going home, I must have looked like the most bananas person in the entire world, because I had two, like one in each hand, just one slightly bigger than the other
You
one.
don't have a backpack?
Oh,
You don't want to put it in the backpack because you don't want to spill it. Is that right?
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I'll tell you the whole story, which is this. No, because I always empty mine out at the end and then just if I'm traveling. No, it was the day I had my earlier show in the comedy festival doing my other show, Will Legitimate. So I had a show in the afternoon, so I wasn't going to be able to get to Comedy Republic first to see if they had my regular one and get it from there. So I had to take my other one in regardless. But I also wear a different outfit in those two shows. So I have my jacket and shoes from the other show in my backpack.
Okay.
So I had to have, both in my hand. So literally on the train, just two giant black Stanley Cups, one slightly bigger than the other
You
one.
should get
The most hydrated man in the world.
You should get one of those vest holsters. You know, the ones where you can just have two
Yeah.
Stanley
Blade
Cups.
style or something. Just
That's right. Under an overcoat, you just peel it back, show people
Yeah.
your double Stanley
and then
Cups.
then a straw comes over my shoulder into my mouth, and I've got one in a backpack that I'm just carrying around.
Who's your favourite Avenger? Stanley Cup man. I like it. I mean, everything you promised
Yeah.
me is true. You do drink more water.
Yeah.
This I totally get the sippy cup for adults thing because it does feel special. Like
Yeah.
there is something kind of, I don't know why it feels different to just necking a bottle or whatever, but something about
I don't know
having
why
the straw there, it compels
Reminds
you to
of
drink
your
more.
childhood.
I think it does.
It does.
Someone, because I was talking about it on the live stream, and someone said, "Oh, it's like it's like it's a substitute for your mother's nipple. Like this is taking you back some level of comfort. There's a suckling motion that makes you happy." And I'd never really considered it because I'm not a big straw guy with other drinks. Like if I'm at a bar and I order a cocktail or a drink that comes with the straw, I'll normally take the straw out or not get the straw at all because I'm a man. I drink from the edge of a bloody glass unless it's got fucking ridges for fastening a lid onto, unless it's a mason jar, which therefore it's impossible to drink from unless I want to drink halfway down my t-shirt. But thank you to the folk listener for providing us all the talent here with mason jars to drink from.
One mason jar, one shared mason jar.
This is the Marty Sheargold one, wasn't it? Oh, no. Oh, dear. I've got some comments about women's health, Will. I'd like to make. It's the mason jar that did it.
This isn't a criticism, but I honestly, it's not. I just can't believe we're still talking about the cup. It's
that good. The cup is that good.
It is.
We would have hours of cup content. Like our summer repeats is sort of just a cup.
I mean, perfect for the summer. I mean, take it to the beach,
but
enjoy yourself there.
Well, there's something like this is a show that we are fascinated by, a brand that focuses like the Biscoff, the Stanley Cup, and when I was away camping, I had it with me, and it was funny. This camping trip, I went away with Timbo, right? So it was Tim and his partner and all their friends, and I didn't realize until we got there.
And when you say you went away, was it just you or did the
family?
me
and Jen. Like, it was a big family. So Tim and
kids?
Yeah, Tim and Ellie, their kids, all their friends and their kids. So probably about 15 kids and like six groups of parents. Yeah. But what I didn't realize is, because they invited us camping, I said, that'll be fun over Easter. But then when we got there, Tim's a big surfer, and all his mates are big surfers.
Okay, yeah.
So
it's a surfing trip.
I was the only guy who does not surf.
Uh-huh.
And so when we got there, it was like, it was, next to a really famous beach.
And you didn't take your inflatable paddleboard?
No. I mean, I didn't even think to... I didn't even think... I thought it was...
How many times have you been on your inflatable paddleboard, by the way?
I do. I love my
regularly?
Regularly?
How many times a week?
In summer, probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. There's a lot of places to paddle around where I live. But I'm not a big camper. This is probably only the second time I've been camping in about 3 years. And when I hear camping trip, I just immediately think the bush. I don't think of beach because I live by the beach. And I was like, why would you go camping near a beach when we live by a beach? I could make sense if you live in the city.
Come round to my house.
Yeah.
Heaps nicer.
That's right.
You don't have to put it up at the start and take it down at the end.
Dude, it was so wet. It was so rainy, and Easter is, everyone, all experienced campers have told me post-camping that, you don't go camping in Easter. That's the wettest period. That's when it's really...
That's what I've always said, except for the in Easter bit. I just thought whether you don't go camping. Yeah. And it's an insult to evolution.
And to be honest, like Gemma's not a big camper. She grew up in Scotland where they used to go camping a lot. So she's been scarred by like just freezing cold camping trips. I went camping a lot as a kid because big family, that's all you could afford really was a camping trip.
An affordable holiday for a big family.
That's right. And I've never really been inclined to do it. But having said that, about a year and a half ago, we went camping with friends in spring. It was really nice, and Iona really loved it. And so what I've come to realize is camping is more really about the kids because kids don't give a fuck about comfort. They love getting dirty and filthy and running around and not having showers.
It's an adventure, not having to wash.
Exactly. Fires, marshmallows, all that kind of stuff. The rules kind of go out the window. So leading up to the camping trip, I was checking the forecast and I was like, oh, fuck, like it's looking, there is still like an East Coast low that's sort of just circling off the Pacific Ocean. So we're still getting lashed with big downpours. Doesn't set in, but it's like that tropical thing where it'll just dump for like 10 minutes.
How far away from where you live was this?
Just north of Coffs, so a couple of hours south.
Okay.
Yeah. So not too far. But we were looking at the forecast. And so after the fun camping trip a couple of years ago, we've slowly been accumulating, because like we'll do this again, and Iona was really into it. So we'll just put together the basics. So we'll get like a tent and a little gazebo and a little cooking kitchen and all that kind of
Also,
stuff.
up your part of the world, not the worst thing to have. Like
No.
for bad weather conditions, power going down, etc., etc. Having a few of those things is quite handy.
And everyone who lives where I live, they camp. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you? You're surrounded by these beautiful national parks and stuff. So I was like, we might as well get all this stuff. And I'm kind of excited about the idea of like taking Iona camping, and you know, I'll have to learn some shit. And so
I was going to say, what about first aid stuff? That feels like to me the thing that would worry me the most is the.
I didn't even take a first aid kit.
God,
like we're quite unprepared.
You know what you should take? Your kids away from you. No.
I did take my Stanley Cup though.
Okay.
But it's the good thing about it is a lot of the mums and dads in town. I just ask them like, what do I do with this? What do I do for that? And everyone's got an answer for you. So, and a lot of the people who I was camping with were experienced campers. So I felt like if something did go wrong, someone would have like a first aid kit.
Yeah, they wouldn't go to you first.
No, it wouldn't come to me. But we were looking at the forecast, and it was like the day we were due to arrive, it was going to be like there was a 100% chance of rain. I think like 20, 30 mil. Like it was dire. So we sort of made the call of like, well, maybe we go earlier. Like, what's worse, sitting up in the dark or sitting up in the rain? It's like, well, sitting up in the rain would be much worse. So let's get down there early. And so we called the campsite. They said, that's fine. We're not busy at the moment. You can have your...
I would have, at that point, gone, is there a third option? Because both of those seem like terrible ideas.
So we rock up to this place, and the sun's gone down, and the forecast is hit early, so it's not only is it dark, it's dark and wet.
Dark and wet.
Yeah, great.
Worst of both worlds.
That's right. So I set up the car. So I've got the headlights on our campsite. So I've got to set up. I've got to set up the tent and then the gazebo. And the thing about the tent too is when we went camping with our friends 2 years ago, we loved their tent, and it had like built-in lighting. It was really luxe. It was this 8-person tent. There's similar family, like only child.
Oh, all 8 in the tent.
It's an 8-person tent, so that basically means like 3 chambers, right? And so it's really roomy, and it's quite comfortable when you camp. It's not like when I went camping as a kid where we had the A-frame tent. You know, you and your sibling.
That's what I was kind of imagining. But you're talking
like a palatial kind of tent.
Yeah,
but not only that,
glamping.
So
is that what this is?
It's not really,
or is it not quite glamping?
It's not quite glamping.
Is there
it's
something
just
between camping and glamping?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd say this is a serious camper's tent. It's like it's a 5-star camper's tent. But when we bought it, so we said to our friends, "Oh, what brand is it? We'll go get the same one." And then we went to.
Now, did you go to boating, camping?
Yes, we did. Of course,
fishing?
we did. I've got a membership there, Will. So we went to BCF.
Did you find it BCF and fun?
Is that their slogan?
Yeah. Come on, I'm trying to get a sponsor on board here. If Stanley Cup hasn't come on board, I reckon BCF might be boating, camping, fishing. It's BCF and fun.
I didn't know that they had a jingle.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Is that an old jingle from when you were growing up?
All I'm going to say is I believe that in at least one of the versions of that, and I hope I'm not giving too much away, I won't give it all away, that somebody that you and Gemma know quite well might be the person singing that song.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like very well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to ask him about it when I get to Melbourne. So we went to these the Boxing Day sales, and they said, and we saw, well, there's the 8-person tent, but then there's also like a 12-person tent, and it's like almost as cheap as the 8.
Oh.
So like if the 8,
why would you need a 12-person tent?
because it says almost the same price as the 8-person.
You've got
it's
the
same
McMansion
price.
approach, but this is more to set up.
Yes,
Right?
it is.
And it's a bigger area.
Way
you
too
need
big
and
for
more
3 people, for
complicated.
2 adults and 1
Yes.
child.
But you're in the great outdoors. You don't need great indoors.
Having said that, having that much room is great because you can go in and you can put all your gear in one chamber. You've still got a central room, which like Iona could have to herself, and then we would have like a room, and then there's still like an entrance chamber as well. So it's massive.
How many chambers was it?
So it's got 3 sleeping chambers, and then it's got an entrance, with like a covered entrance as well. So 4
And
rooms.
I guess one more follow-up question.
Yeah.
What do you consider a chamber? Because you're using the word chamber as if I immediately know what chamber is.
Like a room, like
room.
it's divided,
Okay.
so you can zip up the doors. And
Oh,
so
in
everyone
between?
Yes, if you would like, but we just kept it open. So
okay.
I guess it's like a glamping tent, but it doesn't have any of the light.
Is that what the Wu-Tang Clan were talking about when they made the chambers that they were?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
I mean, when I think of
this is what we're looking for. Boating, camping, fishing.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to play the jingle?
It's the man they've come to see. And yes, we're on. The tent is in play. He's found the space. He knows where it'll go. The throw is good. Oh, and that is a tent. The crowd love him. Hello, you.
Being an outdoor legend feels pretty good. That BCFing feeling is BCFing fun. Hey!
I don't reckon it's that one.
I don't recognise that voice.
I don't reckon it's that one.
By the way, our tent is probably 3 times the size of the tent that you saw in that commercial.
Boating, camping, fucking.
There goes the sponsorship. Just
Maybe
like
that's a new one. Boating, camping, fucking.
I mean,
if you don't like to fish, you know what I mean?
I'm sure that exists. That sounds like an Epstein Island kind of thing.
Right? Okay, let's not associate Epstein with our new sponsors. Boating, camping, fishing.
We decide to divide and conquer because like the rain's coming in. Iona's cool. She's in the back seat. She's got her iPad. The dog's there as well because you could take dogs.
Okay.
So Rosebud's in the back seat, and I say to Jem,
and you're allowed to take dogs to this particular place.
Yeah. So it's not a national park or anything like that. It's just on the outskirts of a town.
Yeah.
But I say to Jem, why don't you take Iona into town and like see if there's like any shops I can get a pizza or something for dinner, and I'll set up the tent. So I think the whole tent pack itself weighs almost 50 kilos.
And is it a one-person job to set it up?
No, not technically, but I did it on my own, like with great difficulty. They're really easy to set up these days because basically they're all like everything is just like a collapsible, and so once you get the sort of central strut up, then you lengthen it outways and you put the legs out. You just raise it and it clicks into place, and then it's up. Like it's not a huge amount of work. What's painful is getting the fly on top, which is the cover, and then getting that all pinned down. And then because it was windy and wet, I'm having to put guide ropes out, and I'm doing all this in the dark. And like experienced campers wear headlamps because you're working on something you need both hands. I didn't have a headlamp. I had a fucking torch between my teeth.
Was it a flashlight? By accident?
I brought the fucking flashlight, not the flashlight. You idiot. I'll tell you what, though, I was a lot more relaxed by the time Gemma came back.
Get another pizza.
She was like, It's like my own version of Brokeback Mountain. It's going to be in the tent, Gem.
I can't quit you, flashlight. Now every summer and every anniversary, let's go camping.
Yeah, I go camping on my own. Charlie, why do you need the 8-person tent? I need my goddamn privacy. I need a room big enough to hold the flesh lamp.
It gets its own chamber.
So I'm doing that in the rain. I get the.
And is it none of the other campers are here at this point?
No, because we got there a day early because we thought we were being smart.
And you didn't think getting there at the same time as the more experienced campers was the best plan?
Well, see, this is the other thing is when we booked it, I didn't realize that some of the more experienced campers had booked cabins. They weren't even staying in tents.
So experienced that this is a bad idea to stay in a tent.
Well, I think they initially were going to stay in tents and caravans, but then they saw the forecast and so they upgraded. But then when we arrived, we tried to upgrade, but there was no cabins available. Well, none near the group, and so we didn't want to stay on the other side of the park. But you know what? Because I think it's the Catholic in me, the sort of like a desire for punishment or a belief in suffering. That's right. Like anything worth experiencing requires some
you need to suffer
form of punishment. Exactly.
Yes.
Which you don't understand. Gemma doesn't understand. A lot of my non-Catholic friends, but my Catholic friends, they understand it. Like there is this. No reward comes without a price. Yeah. And my price was getting absolutely soaked and covered in mud, fucking set up this tent. But I got the tent up. Got the gazebo up, set up a little kind of camp kitchen, which is a great tip for anyone who's looking to go camping. Like, get yourself a little preparation area. It's this thing that folds out. But you get a little sink, a little place to put your cooking stove on, and you can keep all your stuff locked away from the bush turkeys. So that was all good.
Camp Kitchen is actually the name of a show I'm pitching to the ABC.
Yeah. Julian Clary teaches people how to cook.
Joel Creasy.
Yeah. Sorry, Julian Clary.
Julian Clary, great topical reference. Julian Clary.
Do you think we can get Lenny Henry to host?
I don't know. Is Alexi Sale available?
Oh, I love when we...
Mike's like, who are these people that you're mentioning?
And laughing uproariously about.
Anyway.
Okay. So I got it all set up, and that night, and Iona was loving it because she gets back. The tent says it's awesome. It's exciting. The dogs.
She's had pizza in
She's
town.
had pizza.
Yeah.
So that night, it's like heavy rain, and you just don't sleep when you're in a tent because it's so fucking loud.
Does she like sleeping in the same place that you were sleeping as well?
Well, she wanted to have her, like, she had her own mattress.
Yeah.
So we had this great, again, like BCF purchase. It was like this self-inflating double mattress. It was quite comfy.
Okay.
But I got her a little like inflatable single bed thing, but didn't bring the air pump I used for my paddleboard. I didn't bring, so, and you couldn't inflate it with your mouth, so she had to sleep with us, which was fine because she occasionally still climb into bed with us. But with her and the dog in a tent,
with heavy rain,
with heavy fucking rain, wasn't a great night's sleep. And then I kind of wanted to make the most of it, so I was like, because I remember camping, and I don't know if my dad was particularly liked camping, but he at least pretended that he did because we're not going to Hawaii for holidays. So, and he used to do this thing where I remember I'd hear him get up and, I'd hear him like, making the fire, and he'd have like the little bush, the billy over the thing. And
I remember that.
And I had fond memories of that, walking out. Oh, there's my dad. He's a real man, like he's been a man. He also used to do this thing where, because we go camping in Halls Gap in Victoria out in the Grampians, and like, I remember that's the only time I ever looked at my dad and was like, fuck, you a superhero. He'd do this thing, apropos of nothing, where he'd make sausages or whatever, and then he'd grab a single sausage and he'd walk into the middle of the campsite and he would just hold the sausage aloft and we'd be like, what's going on? And then a kookaburra would fly down and take the sausage from his hands and fly off. And then my dad would just like saunter back to the table and keep eating his bloody hamburger or whatever. And it's like, is my dad a superhero? Like, is he a falconer? Is he a kookaburra? Like, is that, it was so cool. So I get up, get a little campfire going.
Your dad also had 3 fingers. Tough for a dentist too.
That's right. So I get like the breakfast going. I'm doing some bacon and eggs and on the stovetop, and I see a kookaburra in the tree. So Iona gets up. And I'm like, and the kookaburra lands, and it's like, I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, watch this. So I get a bit of bacon off the pan, and I go out, and this kookaburra is just like, what? What do you think? And I'm like, hey, here's a bit of bacon. Come get the bacon. Whatever. This kookaburra is like, nah. And so it goes back up to the tree. Yeah. So I'm like, and Iona's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, just hang on. So I'm like, wait, I've fed kookaburras before. It's not an uncommon thing, like they're a bit like seagulls in the sense that if they know there's food around, they'll be quite domesticated. They'll come back. So I'm standing on this tree. This kookaburra won't come down. So I'm like, all right, fuck you, kookaburra. This will come into play a bit later in the story.
All right.
So anyway, first day, our friends haven't arrived yet. It's fucking grim. Gemma's having flashbacks of like a Scottish summer holiday. Like it's grey and windy.
So what are you doing?
Like Gem stayed in bed. She was like, fuck this. Yeah. Like I'm going to stay in bed.
Seems like a sensible.
But I'm like, come on, we're on holiday. We're going to make the most of it. So I said to Iona, let's go down to the beach because we're, right in this beautiful, surf beach, famous for its what do they call it? Breaks. Thank you. A traditional indigenous fishing land. There's all this kind of historical stuff that I found quite interesting, but not great for a kid. I can't read at that level yet, and so we're just walking around the beach with the dog, and you could take dogs on the beach, so that was good. But just getting fucking soaked and pretty grim and miserable. Iona's loving it. But
Iona doesn't care. Iona's like, it's
she doesn't
rain,
care.
It's like
we're
beach,
collecting shells. We're building little huts. All that. I think she wanted to play. What was the game? Cave people. So the idea was, we found this someone had built this kind of like hutch out of like driftwood and stuff. So that was our home. So we were going and collecting shells and taking it back to her. And the thing was like, you know, for her, this is fun. And, you know, but for me, I'm like, this like sucks. This is I would rather be, apart from hanging out with my daughter who I love, I'd rather be doing anything else than just like going down the beach and collecting, like she's finding like gross sea sponges and stinky bits of seaweed.
Things that you would never want to touch.
And like, and then we're having to go and pretend we're eating them, that they're like brontosaurus bones or whatever. So I'm sitting there going, fuck, like every time I put myself out like that, I'm like, I hope this is building a core memory.
Of course it is.
When she wins her Nobel Prize or whatever, she's like, I'd just like to thank my dad.
My dumb dad. My dumb old dad who got me interested in sea stuff.
Who would play caveman with me on this wet beach. So
it's amazing that I'm winning this, seeing that my dad was so dumb. He
tried to make a kookaburra.
Couldn't empty his water bottle before he got on a plane. My dumb dad. I think that even if it's not a core memory, that indulging her imagination in that way is absolutely the greatest, one of the greatest life skills that you could give any child, is to just say, get out in the world, imagine things, play things.
Yes, and
to not say, oh, this is too hard, let's stay inside and watch the iPad.
Yeah.
Like, I think it is great parenting. Like, regardless of whether that's a core memory or not, it's building her capacity to have other core memories.
Well, and this is not a critique of my parents, but, you know, I'm the youngest of 9. So by the time I got around, they were like, ugh, play with your siblings. Like, don't, you know, she doesn't have siblings. So the onus is on us that we have to play with her.
Like a sibling.
I am like a kid. Like and I know she likes playing with me. And also, like, I know many parents have said this, but the greatest lesson to take out of Bluey is the idea of engaged play. Like, that's what that show demonstrates for parents more than anything, is like, just, you know, buy into your kid's imagination, whatever the game, whatever the parameters, just buy into it. Just like give them that experience.
That's what Hamish Blake's very big on. Like, whenever I hear him talk about parenting, it's like he just gamifies everything.
Yes.
Makes it fun.
Well, the other day we played hairdresser. So I actually took her, she was a bit scared about getting her hair cut.
Kids get scared about getting their hair cut.
She thought it was going to hurt. And
I've seen people, like, videos of like kids online and stuff.
I've seen like grown women on America's Next Top Model cry.
That was always my favorite episode of America's Next Top Model.
The second episode 2 with the makeover, always the best.
Yeah, particularly the one where Tyra's like, "No, you've got long, beautiful hair.
Yeah, we're going to
crop it short. The shortest hair of all time.
We're going to bleach it and crop it short,
and now you're going to cry."
Yeah. So I took her to my barber because I was getting my hair cut, and I said to the barber, is it cool? Can my daughter just jump in and just give her a little trim? And so it was good. It was a good experience. But now Iona's favorite game is hairdresser. So like a couple of days ago, we literally played hairdresser where and it's a full role play where we set up the shop. Exactly. Yeah. I've got to knock on the door. I've got to see if she can fit me in. You know, like Rosebud will be there. She'll introduce me to her dog, who's the store dog, and she said, "Be careful. The dog bit a customer last week. I'm just letting you know." So I'm like, okay, it's a weird thing to introduce into the game. This sort of level of like it's like Chekhov's gun. You know, when's the dog going to bite? Yeah. But so then I sat down in the chair, and what I realized about, like, because there's a lot of games you'll play with your kid, which is like, it's all one-sided. You're not getting as much out of it as the kid, obviously. But I know you're a fan of like people touching and massaging your head.
True.
Getting your kid to play hairdresser, I give her the magic brush, and I say, "Oh, could you just give me a head of a bit of a brush?"
Oh, and she does.
Oh God, it's the most blissful couple of minutes while she brushes my hair for me. And she's got this magic brush, which is like it's got flexible bristles. It's for brushing long hair. And it feels, you remember the orgasmatrons back when you used to take pills? You get someone to do the orgasmatron thing on your head. It's that. It feels awesome. So I'm like, oh, this is a game we can get down on. And so I gave her like a little pair of like they're Play-Doh scissors, plastic scissors, so they're not sharp. And the one mistake I made was I gave her a spray bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, you got to spray my hair, you got to brush it, and then you can cut it. Dude, as soon as she worked out.
I mean, of course.
Well, she worked out, that she could spray, which is fine.
Sometimes I want you to. Like, sometimes I think you want these things to backfire because they're such obvious mistakes.
Well, I thought.
And then I handed her a loaded weapon, and I don't understand how I got shot.
Well, no, it's because I was wearing. I had like a towel because you have the
and
drop
you've been
sheet.
in the rain and stuff.
No,
Like,
this isn't camping. This is
this
we're
is
back
separate.
home now.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
this is a
Okay,
separate
sorry.
play. So I had the towel around my shoulder. So I'm like, how much damage could she do? I didn't think for a second that she'd work out to adjust the nozzle to go
so
from
it's a real
spray
squirt,
to direct squirt.
Yeah, okay.
And so she literally execution style, because I couldn't see her because she's standing behind me.
Yeah.
But I felt like the butt of the spray bottle
Just like,
against my head.
Yeah.
And she execution style. She just pulled the trigger and then.
Got a little sense of how you're going to die one day.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I couldn't be angry because she was laughing so hard.
much,
It was just the best. And then the game became, I promise I won't squirt you.
Yeah, and then squirt.
Really?
you.
Squirt me. But then I do it to her and all of a sudden I'm a bully.
Yeah.
So back to the camping trip.
All right.
Okay, so that's day one. Friends arrive.
Sorry, I know that because we're just doing a little side quest
Yeah.
at the moment. Did you know that Tyra Banks lives in Sydney? at the
Yeah,
moment?
I only discovered that last week.
Yeah, so she's opening an ice cream shop
Yes.
down at Darling Harbour, where I've been staying. I literally walk by where it's going to be all the time.
Good time to get out of America.
I mean, and she's been
Smart.
living here for a while, apparently.
Yeah, like 18 months or something,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I read all that. That's so. But how come not everyone knew that? I haven't
Can we
seen
get
her
Tyra
on-
Banks on philosophy? I think Tyra would be a great.
Oh, she'd be
Wouldn't
awesome.
that be amazing?
You're breaking your comedian rule, though.
I don't care. I'd break it for Tyra.
She's pretty funny.
She's made me laugh with all those times she got those girls to cut their hair and made them cry.
So the end of day one, still wet. But then the other kids arrive. So it's getting better because now Iona's got kids to play with and the other guys are there. And then I realize, they're all surfing because they've all got their boards and they're talking about what break they're going to go to. And I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? So go to bed that night, wake up the next day and it's sunny. And we're like, oh my God. And like a beautiful, dry, sunny day. And
The next day.
The
day you would have been setting up originally?
No.
Oh, no. Okay,
no.
cool.
All
right, so day
this is
after.
day
Yeah,
3
okay.
for us, day 2 for everyone else. Awesome day. Go down to the beach. All the like actually mums and dads are both surfers. So everyone's a surfer except for Gemma and I.
Oh, okay.
So kids are in the water surfing. Mums are in the water surfing, dads are in the water surfing, me, Gemma and Iona, fucking nerds, sitting on the beach scared of drowning.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's all cool. Everyone's having a good time. And then that night we have like a big, it was like a big sort of cook up and the kids do like play games and one of the dads is running like a wheelbarrow contest, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And then the kids all go to bed and Gem's tired. So she takes Iona and then, the few grown-ups stay up and get pretty wasted. Like we're sitting around the fire, telling stories, getting a bit loose. And I'm like, okay, this is fun, but I need to, I want to go back because I don't trust myself to kind of like not step into a fucking, trip over and break my neck. So I got the torch and I'll go back before it gets too drunk or too dark.
You want to be alone with the torch.
So I go back, I go back to where our tent is and I'm looking at the car and I'm like, what is on the car? And I put the torch on it. It is covered in bird shit. Like, not just one, but like literally.
Have you parked it under a particularly...
I shine my torch up, 2 fucking kookaburras. Like, it felt personal, Will. It felt like it was a bukkake, a bird poo bukkake all over my car. A pukaki. And I was like, motherfucker. To the point where, when you just get so enraged or something seems so...
Boo cookie? I've been working on boo for kookaburra. Bukaka?
Bukaka.
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 You call kookaburra cooker, right?
Cooker, yeah.
Oh, no, but that sounds like a
But then it sounds
conspiracy.
like,
Conspiracy
It's got a lot of
QAnon.
vibe. Don't vaccinate.
Well, I mean, maybe these birds should have been vaccinated
Kookaburras.
because that was the most amount of bird shit I've ever seen.
Well, it's probably because people are feeding them bacon.
And there may have been more birds, but when I shine my torch up around, I don't know, maybe 10:30 at night, there was just 2 left.
Just a couple.
To the point where I went to, I did that drunk thing where I stumbled into the tent, grizzling out loud about, Jem's half asleep, Iona's asleep, like, bloody kookaburras are bloody shitting on the cars and this kind of stuff. And so I went to bed like oh man, like so angry and thinking about where I'm gonna have to find a fucking car wash because you're not meant to leave bird poo in your car for too long.
No,
it's got acids in it.
Yep.
Turns out didn't have to worry, Will, because that night it fucking
Rained.
poured.
Yeah, rained a lot.
Like twice as much rain as we had on the first night. Like it was so heavy to the point where I'm like, we might like be flooded here because I'm sticking my head out and like the ground can't absorb the water.
How like low to the ground are you in your tent?
Just by dumb luck, we managed to pick the one camping spot. We were surrounded by water, but we did not. I had like a ground mat underneath the tent, but we were surrounded by people whose fucking tents had water. They were in water, or their caravans were in water, and it was just dumb luck. Like it wasn't because I picked the perfect site or anything like that.
You did in the dark. You didn't know.
Didn't know. So it is pouring down, and I'm like, fuck this. Because everyone had said to me too, I'll wait for a dry day before you pack up because otherwise you have to go back home.
Oh, yes. And then
basically
unpack everything so that
basically do another setup and you get home. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, motherfucker. But then it just got miserable to the point where we were meant to stay one extra day. And I was like, can we get the fuck out?
Yeah.
Let's go. So Jem and I, and Tim came over to help, thank God, because it would have been much more miserable, but had to pack everything up and get in the car. And I got to say, like, my own bed, hot shower, like putting the TV on, like it all felt so good.
Did you set up the tent at home though immediately? Did you?
No, I couldn't because it was raining back home for the next 2 days.
Right.
So everything stayed wet for about 2 days. And then I was able to set everything up and dry it up and packed it all away. And it's almost like, what's that psychological phenomenon where it's like, I've forgotten about the trauma now. Like it's like, like I'm looking forward to the next camping trip. It's like it was horrendous and challenging and tough. But I was because in my head I was like, okay, I want to do that again, but I don't want to go to I live by amazing beaches. I want to go into the mountains or a lake or on somewhere which is completely
somewhere
different.
You could die.
Yeah, more snakes, spiders,
leeches.
I mean, there's lots of places that like national parks you can't even light a fire, and I'm like, well, I don't want that. What I wanted in my head, what I had imagined was sitting by, fire, toasted like my memories of camping, which is, I don't remember doing that much. Bushwalks.
What about a caravan?
Yes.
Would you do a caravan?
Yeah, I just don't know how to go driving it. They look so complicated to drive and park and shit.
I mean,
but you know what you can also do? One of the guys in this camping group, there's a service. You pay like $150 a day. They come, they set up a luxe caravan for you. All the the canopy, the table, the barbecue, everything, and then you camp, and then at the end of the day you just fucking leave it, and they pack it all up for you, and you don't have to worry.
That doesn't really feel like camping, though, does it?
Well, but is that? No, I thought I was being Catholic by going, well, that's not camping because he's not suffering. But isn't that perfect?
Like, well, no, because if you would just want that, go to a hotel.
Well, no, you're still like sleeping out in the bush and stuff. It's just that you're not having to deal with the pack up, and you're still having to like cook your own food and go fishing and.
I don't think it's the suffering. It just feels like you've really, like it's all orgasm and no foreplay to me. That approach,
right?
Like
it's porn. It's the pornography of camping.
It feels like you've got straight to I want to see the pizza delivered.
Yeah.
And I do feel
What's
like
the storyline.
I feel like I was invested in your storyline.
Yeah.
And there is I think there's probably some sense of self-satisfaction from being able to achieve it. Right?
Yeah.
Like I do think it's not just about the suffering but it's genuinely that you're getting some joy out of the fact that you were able to do it by yourself.
100%. And it's also that kind of device-free experience as well, where it's like you're not looking at your phone, you're not looking at your iPad, you're actually focused on. I mean, my memory of my dad as well, like a lot of this stuff, a lot of parenthood is about not confronting, but like looking back at things your parents did with through a different lens, because you now have more empathy or more understanding.
Or judgment sometimes.
Or judgment, yes.
Where you're like, I'm not going to do it like they did it. But it is all in comparison.
Exactly. Or you grow up with this sense of injustice that my parents never, took me to this, and I could have been this if my parents had only encouraged me. But then you realize, well, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like there's more factors to play than just that.
Yeah, you'd still be you.
But my dad was always doing something. He was always pottering around, fixing something, tinkering with something. And and that's all I was doing in this camping trip. I was always doing something. Like, obviously there was sort of dedicated times where we were catching up with the friends or going to the beach or whatever. But the rest of the time I'm checking the guide ropes. I'm going around and making sure that no water's going in. I'm cleaning out this. I'm checking the car, making sure we've got oil. Did I fill up? And it's weird. I never thought I'd be this kind of guy where I'm like, I'll just, go around. I don't want to have to share my emotions. I'm just going to go around and bloody kick things and prod. And
I've considered, this is just a sign of, like, it's funny because obviously I don't have kids, but I think this is a similar sort of thing about, like, just an age you get to where you become a person that you didn't necessarily think that you were ever going to be. But I am considering definitely I'm going to get some disposable gloves. But I am also considering getting some sort of, like, device that you can pick up rubbish, because around my area when I go on my walk, there's
like
always
one of those pincer things.
Yeah, something like that. Because on my walk, there's always, like, just trash, like, around that often I will just, like, pick it. Like, if it's easy to pick up and it's not gross, I will just pick it up and put it in the bin because I'm walking anyway, right? Like, it's just like
food wrappers, not gross.
Yeah, well, it depends. Like, so where I live, there's a bunch of restaurants that, like, serve. So the food would come in its own packaging, but then there'll be, like, a paper bag or a plastic bag that it then comes in as well. So if it's like something like that, I will always pick it up because it's just a paper bag or whatever. Plastic bottles I'll pick up, but I prefer a glove. Like, sometimes it gets a bit gross, but it's funny that I'm just like, oh, well, I'm on my walk. I could just, like, pick up some rubbish.
And you do see old people doing weird things like that.
And you're like, and I've seen in the past and gone, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
And then one day you're just like, you know what? Maybe I could make this place slightly better just while I'm already walking.
So what is that?
So maybe I shouldn't just walk past this rubbish.
Yeah, I could see myself doing that because I'm a bit like that as well. I'll pick up other people's litter and rubbish. You know what actually happened? This is completely off topic, but got me thinking about. I was with a friend took Iona to a friend's birthday party, like a 5 or 6 birthday party, and my friend is pregnant and she's got 2 daughters. One of them's Iona's age, so helping her get back to her car, and she dropped a bunch of stuff. So I'm helping her pick this stuff up. We're so if you can imagine, there's a kids park, and then you walk out into this sort of gravel car park, and then it's about 50 meters of car park, and then there's the road, right? So the girls are walking ahead of us towards the road, being like kids, just running and, spinning and all that kind of stuff. And I'm helping my friend pick up whatever she dropped, like napkins or whatever. And then as we get closer to the road, we look up and we see there's a car about to turn in, not at high speed, about to turn in. The girls are running to it. So we're like, girls, stop, get off the road. Takes about 10 seconds for them to kind of click, and they moved to the side. So then I help my friend off the road, and then we're walking, and this car, it's a Range Rover, pulls up, and someone winds down the window, and this woman starts going like, you fucking idiot, get your fucking kids off the fucking road. And I'm like, what? Like, it just come from a kids party. And so she drives off, and so I just go back and say, excuse me. She stops the car, and this person gets out, and she wants a fight. And she's like, you fucking heard me, fucking cunt. And I'm like, whoa. And I say to, like, Jules, I'm like, just take the girls over there. And I said, what's going on? And she's like, your fucking kids are playing on the road. You want them to get fucking run over? And I said, hey, this is a kids park. We're in a car park. The kids are on the road. We got them to clear. What's going on? And she's like, I hope your fucking kids get fucking run over so you fucking learn. I'm like, and everyone, like, is standing around is hearing this. I'm like, all right, I was going to, like, confront you, but I think you're doing a great job of painting a picture here. And then I just it was so disconcerting and seemed so out of the ordinary that, like, this family environment with kids and stuff, and then this person drives in with all this aggression and energy, but driving this really nice car. But with a real fucking, like, aggro. And then I was like, is this ice? Like, it felt like so uncalled for and so extreme and calling for the death of children, in the space of like 15 seconds. I just was like, because ordinarily I would arc up and I would want to keep going. And I'm like, this is probably not worth it. This is probably not worth it. I'm not going to change anyone's mind.
No, I don't need as someone's like, oh, actually, you make a good point.
I'm not going to meet her out of any justice. Like, I think I need to, but I sort of went out and I just checked on my friend because I was like, it was pretty ugly. And she said, look, the girls are fun. They didn't know. She said, I was a bit rattled. Like, what prompted that? I'm like, I don't know. But there was just so many weird elements to it, like the beautiful car she was driving, the expensive car, the kids, and then this fucking aggression and wishing of death of children.
Well,
Like-
I mean, it's that thing of if you're worried about the kids being on the road, it's a bit of an extreme. It's a real Thanos style approach.
Then
to
you'll learn. That'll learn you.
They'll learn you. If we just destroy if half of your kids suddenly disappear, then you'll learn a lesson.
And I don't know for certain, but I think she might have had a young kid in the car
Yeah, great.
with her.
Good example.
And I'm like,
Speaking of core memories, speaking of things that are going to live with you forever.
do you remember when Mum wished
God.
death on that group of kids?
Yes, yeah.
It was so strange.
Wow.
It was so strange. I remember just being like, because I often will then think about those kind of confrontations and be like, could I have handled things differently? Did I do something wrong? And I was like, no, there's just certain instances in which someone's a fucking psycho, just an absolute psycho for no reason. Like there was no justification for it. It was just like she had a hair trigger, something. If me calling out to her that was what provoked her.
Yeah.
But
The
she fucking
inciting-
wound down the window and told us to get our fucking kids off the road, and we weren't even on the road. It was so crazy.
Yeah, that's really full on.
Yeah.
It's occurred to me, and this is a bit of a weird twist because it's time for us to. Is it time for us
Is it?
to?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just occurred to me, and this might be the most horrible thing to say, but now that I've thought it, I have to say it.
Yeah.
We were talking about the fleshlight before.
Well, let's bring it full circle.
Yeah. And we were also talking about the Stanley Cup. And it has occurred to me.
Yeah. This is the mashup we need.
I mean, have I invented the greatest product of all time? Oh, you like it so much, why don't you have sex with it? Well, I'm sorry, hang on. Mike's on the phone to HR.
I need backup.
Hey, if you like the show, there is a great way to support us. Yes, we've had sponsors. We've been very lucky all year, but
been great.
But we still love your support on Patreon, and it's not a one-way street; it's a two-way street because you get ad-free episodes. If you listen to Patreon, we also have heaps of bonus content, archive material that goes back miles.
Videos, all sorts of stuff.
I do a live stream most Fridays. I didn't, obviously, when I was camping. I apologize to everyone. I actually said I was going to do a live stream and then completely forgot. So I had to post a mea culpa saying sorry about that. But there's it's totally worth checking out because if you have joined the show recently, you're going to go back and discover a whole world of TOFOP that you probably didn't know existed. This show has had many eras, Will, much like Taylor Swift.
And today felt like a return to summer. But we do a regular segment. It goes like this, Mike.
Oh, do we have time for this, Mike? No.
Oh, no time.
Well, let's sizzle it for next week.
Okay, we'll sizzle
Let's
it.
do it next episode, as well as will you drop some hints about sponsorships? In a previous episode, we talked about a brand, and we got one off. We got one
we
off.
got one.
We'll
All right.
We got one.
next episode.
In the words of
All right, so
Ghostbusters.
we don't have time. We don't have time for this.
Why don't we do a double header next
okay.
week?
All right.
Yeah?
Sounds good.
All right. Okay. This is do you need to promote your...
Yeah, I'm on tour at the moment. Comedy.com.au is the place to. I'm doing a whole bunch of my improvised shows. I'm doing Will Legitimate as well, but I won't go through all of the dates. But comedy.com.au.
Check it out. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson.
You